Ultra Happy People. I am your host, ultra runner and coach Tania, and your wonderful co-host, Andy.
Woohoo!
Yay! I'm back to wonderful co-host.
Wonderful,
That's
yeah. It
it.
was getting too tricky. There was
Yeah,
too many, you know.
that's it. I like that one. And I
Wonderful.
learned that one already, so you're sticking to that.
Okay, cool.
How's everyone doing? How's your 15 kilometers doing now?
What?
How's your... What?
It's my 15 kilometres.
mine?
The 15 kilometres are the same because they're on the treadmill. Yeah.
How are you feeling?
Yeah, good. That's what have I got in this week already? It's Wednesday. We're recording Wednesday. I've got 25 kilometres in already.
Okay, yeah.
Do you know what?
Just to think that you started with struggling with 3.
I know. Do you know the thing is? I was saying to you, and I'm sure I mentioned on another podcast as well, is that it's funny. You kind of lose as you start doing more mileage or more kilometres. You kind of you lose the idea of 5 kilometres,
Right?
or
Yeah.
10 kilometres.
Yeah.
I think I was saying to you because I was looking at signing up for the half marathon.
Yes,
so
I think that needs to happen.
I was looking at the half marathons in Dubai, and when I was looking at them, there's a race for 5 kilometres, 10 kilometres, and 21 kilometres. And the most bizarre thing came into my head is like, why are people doing 5 kilometre runs? But that's because I'm used to doing 15 kilometres now, and that was a bit of a strange thought in my head. And then I thought,
and there's
to
people
myself,
that want to do 5 really
then,
fast.
But then I had to pull myself back and think, no, where did that come from? Because the truth of the matter is, people can do 5 kilometres, 10 kilometres, 7 kilometres, whatever they want to do. It's about you getting to the place you want to get to.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I'm wanting to get to the 21 kilometres now.
Right.
I kind of almost had to reel myself in and say, right, remember what you started. But it was weird. I kind of associated it a little bit of when you were talking about, I don't really think much of doing 50 kilometres anymore.
Yeah.
Which is bizarre to me right now, even though I'm attempting a 21. So that's a long way of saying, yeah.
It happens in
it's
like
good,
a little
But it's funny, yeah, when your brain starts
dimension,
switching.
but it's still kind of happening in your brain. It's starting to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, for example, the 80K or even 100K, I like it because in my head, I can break the distance really easy.
Yeah.
So I would say, like you were saying, 50K, I can do 50K, no bother. And then in the 80K in Gobi March, that's how I broke it down. I said, I need to do 50K and then just a half marathon. I mean, yes, I know that's 70, but I said, and then an extra 10. You know,
Yeah.
I just, and those last 10 don't count because it's 10K. I can do that. So yeah, you start definitely, and then you start not like feeling this respect for the distance, but you still feeling, you feel comfortable in the distance.
No, I think you were right in the first place. You do have a moment of disrespect for the distance, and then, like I did, you had to reel your back in and say, I struggled to do 5K at one point. So actually, I'm really proud of anybody that's going out there and doing their first 5K. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
I know it's not hard.
But I think the point I'm kind of making is it's funny how me coming from a brain that never worked like that in the past to now thinking like that was strange for me, and I had to pull myself back round. And like I said, it's about you doing a distance you're comfortable with.
And it starts being, let's say, easy, right?
Yeah.
And I even hate that when people are like, I'm like, oh, I'm going to do a 10K or a 20K run. And they're like, oh, that's nothing for you. Or, you know, and it may be nothing, but it was difficult to get to that point.
Yeah.
That's the whole idea. So if...
Well, I tell you what, last week, because I was doing, I'd done a 15, a 10 and a 5K during the course of the week. I think I bloody sweated more on my 5K day than I did on my 10,
because you're trying
15.
to go faster. Because now you're faster. Like, oh, 5K, I can do that easily. So you start doing a little bit of speed.
In my opinion, it was a bit serious there for a moment, but big respect to anybody that does any distance and wants to get out there and challenge themselves. I think for me, I had a wee learning curve this week about reeling myself in and not being disrespectful to distances because, you know what, everybody, if you're doing your bit, well played. Well played to you.
Yeah. I even have a Instagram story somewhere in my Instagram about I'm not scared of ultra marathons. I'm scared of the 5K because people go really fast. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm so scared of the 5Ks. I can do a 50, a 60, 80, but don't put me out to do a 5K because I would go to that race absolutely so nervous and so
I think,
scared of
do you
that
know,
distance.
it's funny as well, right? Because you, like I was saying, your brain starts thinking differently. And I was thinking that, see the next 5K I do, because I want to get my time down from, because I'm sub 30 minutes now, so I'm like 28
Oh,
minutes.
check you out.
No, but I'm like 28 minutes 54, right? And I was thinking, anybody that's seen the episode about when we were talking about running shoes, is thinking maybe I can try my Nike Alpha Flies now and get an extra minute out of it.
Maybe we could use your faster now.
No,
Yeah,
I can use my carbon plate shoes.
Maybe. Listen, I'm not a pavement runner or a fast runner, so I wouldn't be able to maybe tell you my experience in that department. But give it a try. Let us know.
Do you know what else the funniest thing is? Is I used to give Tanya a hard time, and whenever she came in from a run and she would have her chorus on and she'd look at her stats and she'd be like, "Oh, I mean, I was really in threshold today and I was anaerobic and all that sort of stuff," and I'm like, "That what? Who gives a shit
What
about
is
that?"
that?
I know.
Shut up.
Now after every run, I'm like checking it out to
Like,
see where I'm
purely
at.
obsessed about this
And I
stats.
have to catch myself on and say, "What are you doing? You're
Oh my God, it's a totally
you're not a
different
pro runner.
person.
Yeah, I mean, just enjoy yourself." But
You're-
you get caught up in it. You do get caught
You're
up
an
in it.
experienced runner now.
Is that I'm an experienced runner?
Yeah,
Is
I don't
that
know. We're having that
official? I don't know.
discussion. When do you start being an experienced runner?
I do another funny story about it, right? So when I was doing the 15K during the week, and I've done quite a few now. And I thought to myself, there's something not right when I'm running. I need to sort it out. So I was thinking to myself, and I laid all my stuff out to go to run my 15K. 15K, yeah, I mean, it's not an ultra marathon. And I thought to myself, I know what's wrong with it.
What?
I'm not wearing my compression shorts underneath
Oh
my
my
shorts.
God.
But you know what it was? See, when I run with shorts on, I feel them riding up a little bit, and it annoys me. So what I
Yeah.
do is I have to adjust my pace a wee bit to fix them and put
Yeah,
those in my pockets and get back to it.
yeah.
And I thought, no, there needs to be a way of fixing
You
that.
need
What's the
to
way
be
of fixing
comfortable.
it? So I
Yes.
ended up, I tried them on, and you know what? It worked. But I remember telling you about it. You said, and now you're an experienced runner.
You're an experienced runner. You're starting to tweak. You're starting to find what works for you, what doesn't work. But it only, only works if you go and give it a try. Because if you
Yeah.
never were brave enough to give it a try, how will you know that you're actually enjoying it?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's great. So
Do you know something else I love about it?
what?
This is going to sound. I don't know why I'm making this about my
Oh,
running,
go on.
but
I'm scared.
there's a part of me now that when I'm running, because when I'm doing a 10 or a 15K, there's a part of me that enjoys seeing the people coming on
What do you mean?
and off when I'm still running.
Oh yeah. Imagine when I did the Stairmaster 4 hours at the gym.
I know.
I seen a whole shift of
I know.
workers, and I was like,
That's what I was thinking. There's like 4 and 5 people come on and off that have
Yeah.
done 5Ks, or maybe they're just doing some walking for like, and you can see the people, because obviously a 15K, it takes me like an hour and a half to do. So you see the people that are coming on walking for an hour, and they're looking at me as I'm still running.
You're still
They're looking
there.
at me going like, what is this guy doing? To be fair, I mean, the sweat's pulling off me, but
at
I know,
you.
but they're looking
I
at me,
think-
and it's weird. It's one of the things that actually,
I know.
if you to say there was a runner's high, and what was my experience of the runner's high,
Is
it's
that,
that-
like giggle?
it's that wee giggle as I'm continuing going for an hour and a half. People come on and off and on and off.
I think I told you this week as well. I think I like ultra marathons because of that. They are so like difficult, and it's not so open, right? There is still a very few people that do them. I mean, it's a sport that's growing, yeah, fair enough, but still, in an ultra marathon, in the start line, it's usually, I mean, if it's not UTMB, obviously, and those big ones, you still have like a fairly only like 100, 200 even of people against a marathon that is
Yeah.
40,000 people. And I like that piece of uniqueness of that sport. Or even when, someone asks you, what are you? What do you do? And you say ultra marathons, and 80% of the people look at you like with a face of, what is that? And then when you tell them like the face of like, what? I like that. So it's like you would feel
Yeah.
like that feeling of I love doing hard things. I like that I'm doing something different
Yeah.
and difficult that brings that uniqueness
But it's
experience to
interesting as
it.
well.
Whatever you do, it
Funny,
doesn't need to be
and we're
running.
talking about running in general here.
Yeah.
My friend Tarek, in Glasgow, where I come from, like the guy that started running, and then he progressed to half marathons. I don't really speak to him much anymore, but I follow him on Instagram, which is what I love Instagram for. And you see he's really getting into the pace of things, and he's loving it, and that's his big challenge now. Do you know what I mean? And you can see him enjoying it so much and really pushing himself to get that extra minute or two off his half marathon time, and that's his thing.
Yeah.
He would probably never be interested in doing an ultra marathon,
Long
although he
distances, yeah.
respects it. Do you know what I mean? And I know he watches the documentaries because I sent him loads of them. Remember?
Aye.
But I think he loves the running thing, but he's really pushing himself to get that better time, and I love that about him because that's his thing. Do you
Yeah,
know what
like
I mean?
you
It's
said,
really good.
you can shoot like two different ways. Obviously, the speed or the endurance part of it, of like going for longer. But since now you're getting, so you're going to sign up for that half marathon. I think we need
Yeah.
to start thinking in outdoor runs at some point.
It's a bit warm.
And if the goal is, I mean, the ultimate goal here, guys, is that Andy wants to pace me for a couple of kilometers at least in Cocodona.
A couple. I think last time we talked about it was 25 or 30.
Oh my God, look at that. We're getting him the 30 kilometers. All right,
It's
30
to
kilometers.
to be fair, it's a year away. If I'm not running 30
30
kilometers by then,
kilometers.
there's something wrong. I've got another broken ankle.
30 kilometers. But it's in trails. So also very important here that we'll start maybe training a little bit, maybe even start walking, taking you to like some hikes and just walk, because Andy is not the fastest on his feet. He's always tripping.
What? I'm faster than you. And plus, to tripping, I don't trip. I fall. There's a difference. The reason
right.
no
Let me correct.
no
You do fall.
I fall. Do you know why? Because what happens
What?
is when we've went hikes and we go these places, we climb over fences and we climb over walls and we have to jump like water bloody stones now. And I fell on them because I'm not very good at the landing part. On the walking and the running, I'm generally okay, but I do admit that
But
yes,
we
I
do
fall.
have to start.
As long as Cocodona we're not climbing fences or climbing walls,
I don't
I'll be
know.
okay.
You have to be ready for everything. That is the truth of it, because I don't know. We don't know. And I cannot guarantee you that it's not going to happen, or you don't have to do a little bit of a jump somewhere. You have to just to be ready and be
Have a
ready
ladder
for
with you.
that. I know. It's like, oh, hold on, honey. Let me put a...
Hold on, I put my climbing shoes on.
Yeah, climbing shoes and everything. So it's very important for anyone also that is maybe going to start doing or thinking about doing the leap like Andy from pavement or road running to trail running. It's just very important to don't skip that part of just walk. Just go and walk for a couple of first times, maybe a faster walk the second time, and then until you start picking up the running. It's really important to build up those neural connections or that proprioception in your ankle and your feet, that connection of your brain to respond fast to the uneven surfaces and soft surfaces is very, very different. So it's very important to walk first, so you kind of like your brain and your body gets used to that feeling and that experience. Because if I've heard plenty, and I have plenty of athletes that they are road runners and then they go into trails and they want just to sprint off.
Yeah.
And that is when a lot of unfortunate situations happen, because it's not the same. And you're trying to think like, oh, I'm going to hit the same pace in the pavement that I'm due in trails. And that's not the case. So yeah, it's very important to do that. So we're going to have to take you to some,
On the plus side,
walks.
On the plus side, that I actually do own amazing trail running shoes that I just used to wear because I liked
know.
them.
So you have all the gear, no idea.
I have all the gear, no idea. I went
Perfect.
through a phase, remember,
that.
of Nike ACG and buying loads of stuff from them. So
Love
I've got
it.
like the whole trail kit from them. So at least I look good when I'm doing it. So that's
Yeah,
better,
you do. He
Yeah.
has more like trail gear than me.
Remember when we went snowboarding?
I know. And you
We
will
went, we
look
went,
like
we went
totally
snowboarding,
apart.
and I had the ACG
And everyone was like,
gear
is
on.
he a pro
People,
snowboarder?
people were asking me, "Oh, is this? Are you here quite a lot?" I said, "No,
No, I
this
have no
is my
idea.
first time snowboarding." They're like, "Oh my god, I thought you were a pro."
And he's like fully here.
Because I had the,
I know.
kitted out. I know.
I know, we're taking the cool kid to snowboard. That was a fun trip. But here, changing weather, here we are in Dubai. We're hitting around 50 degrees now.
Yeah.
And I am back training a little bit in outdoors and just getting myself moving. I do feel less beaten up than I did in Namibia when I came back. So I am starting to put the my foot in the pedal and kind of like start moving again, and it's feeling great.
You
Apart
definitely
from-
seem in a better place.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think mentally and physically. Mentally, I think because Namibia, I came back kind of like feeling very down in the sense of, oh my god, that was so slow and that was so hard because of the heat, obviously, and I just didn't run. I just felt slow and heavy and sluggish, and and the easy way to say is like make the excuse of like, oh, it was the sun, obviously, and it was my first time experiencing 50 degrees ever.
And this time, you didn't come back walking like a penguin.
Walking in the sand and stuff. So for me, it was like the first time doing that, and I just didn't feel like it was my jam. But I feel really energized after this one because I was able to run, and I realized like I'm still a good, like, I still have some fitness in there. So it was just good.
But the thing is and what we said in the last podcast is when I was speaking to your coach Sarah, I knew, see, as soon as I seen the pictures of it, that you were going to love that run.
Yeah.
And she was saying, well, yeah, because obviously it's more like Scotland, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's a bit more flats. You're not climbing dunes all the time. Because actually, although we joke about it, you do want to run. Do you know what I mean? You want to get out there and run and take.
I love that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've been starting to move, like I said, a little bit slowly. Very important to take your time to recover. I feel like my body was recovered until I started to move. When I started to move, it's like, oh my god, my heart wants to explode. Like right the minute I started moving, and my body,
on your
my
runs
legs.
just now because you're like doing you're doing half an hour, aren't you?
Yeah, half an hour, and then.
And it feels
I
like,
went-
hold on, I want to dig a wee bit deeper in that. So you feel just now like your heart is beating so fast? Is that because of the
I think
weather?
it's
Is it
because
because you've
it's
not
hot.
recovered properly?
I think it's hot.
Yeah, I would say so
think it's
because
hot.
because
Real hot.
because to me you've always got. I mean,
Well, no, hold on a second, because I went to a spin class.
oh yeah,
That was fun, guys. So, call me an old school, right? But the last time I went to a spin class ages ago,
was in Glasgow.
I think so.
In
Yeah.
Glasgow, where they're all crazy.
When was in Glasgow? Oh yeah. Yeah, even in Glasgow, yeah. And let's say that one was a new kind of class type as well.
Yeah.
But way back there when spin classes started, I was like into spin classes when the whole thing started. And I remember the classes were awesome. I used to love them because it was very on the kind of like mindset of you're supposed to like feel like you're part of a team, like you're riding with a peloton, and you're like people that are next to you are kind of gonna climb the mountain with you, and the guy, like the instructor, is putting you in that like mind frame, and let's go and push, and imagine that mountain.
They've got a beat, haven't they?
And they have the beat, and they were telling you how many like turns to do in the bike, and it's like turn 2 loops in the bike, and come on, do another 3, and they were trying to push you, and it was so fun. And now I went to this class last week, and I'm like totally like a bit excited that I wanted to get that feeling again, like being pushed and all that. And then I get there, the whole room is black with like tons of light. It's like getting into a disco or like a nightclub.
Love that.
I know, and I thought that's cool. And then the classes started, and it was a lady. Sorry, maybe it's not my jam, but it was just talking too much. It's too much chat, and too much chat of like love and life. And she's like, we want to be grateful be grateful for? And I'm like, just shut up and just come on, push me, kind of thing. I was like, okay, when I'm going to start push, like when is,
Yeah.
So I was doing my own kind of like pushy thing in my own head. I'm like, okay, Tanya, one turn more, and she's like, yeah, like there's no more, like they don't tell you how much like
Well, that one doesn't tell you.
that one didn't. Yeah, she was like not telling us like how hard should we push or not. And then suddenly, listen to this, there was like the dancing started. She was like, we're gonna cross the arms twice, and then side twice, and then again up the arms 3 times. And I was like, I can't try to push and
You
learn.
with zero coordination.
I can't try to learn that while I'm trying to like push in my bike, and I don't know. Like it was not. Yeah, it was interesting. I don't know if all the classes are like that now.
Nah, but it's different
Or is
places,
it just
different
maybe
things.
different? Yeah, maybe it was just a class.
And plus,
but
and plus
it was-
everybody's got different expectations of these things as well.
I do love the idea because it was like I was telling, it was almost like a cult because look, it looked like people from there they were going very regularly, and like they had like these like group formed and like friends and stuff like that from there. So I do enjoy that. Like it's a really good option for people that maybe particularly they don't like working out, and that way it's like a fun way to get out and do something, I guess. And yeah, in that sense it's really good. In my sense, so I was pushing myself. Obviously I was putting the turn of the bike really hard and just trying to kill myself there myself. And at the end of the class, they turn on the lights, obviously, to just let us out. My bike had a massive puddle underneath. Like, I looked like I just went and have a shower. I turned around, and I was the only one. Like, there was only my puddle, and that's it. And I thought, like, are you guys in the same class as me? Like,
People are looking, going,
what the hell happened
was she
here?
sweating or did she pee herself?
I know, maybe I just peed myself.
Well, to be fair,
It could happen. I mean,
if it was in the trails, who knows?
so it was really, but I don't know, maybe also because I'm not 100% recovered. That's what I was going with my story. Because if I pushed a little bit in the bike, I could feel my heart right away, like jumping. Like I was telling Sarah, my coach as well, that my muscle, like I feel great, but just my insides, my lungs and my heart are not 100%. So I think it's also very important that if you just finished a race or you just finished a strong effort, even a training effort, a long, strong, effort, you need to leave yourself to heal and recover. But not only the only thing that recover comes from muscles and fibers and all that, but also your internal organs. I think that takes for, and then more so if it's a race like this one that involves, eating dehydration meals, or if you had a lot of gels and all those, your internal organs take a while to kind of like go back to processing normal foods. So it's very important to also do recovery, like I said, like these kind of exercises, but also the nutrition. I had a call with my nutritionist this week just to dial in on that, because last time in Namibia I didn't do any like nutrition efforts. I was just like, I'm just gonna eat everything, and I think there's something I could have improved, and I'm doing it. So I'm doing a little bit more of efforts in my nutrition side of recovery, just to see if that obviously makes a difference, which I know it will. So obviously food is king. So a lot of protein. He sent me a lot of protein. Eating a lot.
8 meals a day.
I know, how amazing is that? But knowing like good foods rather than I was hungry all the time, but I was eating everything because I was just hungry. So that's why I had to give him a call, because I was like, I'm just hungry and nothing is just making me full. So it was good that he gave me a guideline, and just put a little bit more food, way much more protein at the moment, a lot of veggies, and just do not, particularly no drinking, obviously, sadly, and no fried or greasy foods, just because those are very inflammatory foods.
Yeah.
And not only because he's like, oh, we don't want you to gain weight. That's not the idea. The idea was like, it's very inflammatory foods. And right now we're kind of like looking for the opposite. We're looking to eat, the inflammatory foods, which is a lot of veggies and a lot of vitamins and things like that, and
Actually,
hydration.
anyone just joining us this season, we actually had Albar on in the first season. So it would be worthwhile. Actually, I remember the recap that we done for the first season. I got a lot from what we were saying to Albar, and I spoke to Albar in the past anyway.
Yeah.
But even just some of the information he gave us. So if you're interested in nutrition and you want to know a little bit more, some of the simple things you can do, go back and have a listen to that episode because actually it's really good. And Albar speaks in really simple terms as well. So it's really good.
Excellent. So let's start digging into stage 1 and stage 2. It will be quite short because there's not a lot of
Apart from you were dead.
apart. Exactly, I was gonna say
You were knackered.
it's gonna be fast.
The two
I
stages you were
sucked.
knackered.
I was hot and I almost died. Let me just summarize it all for you. But before I forget, because I forgot last episode, I had 2 wardrobe malfunctions.
I don't think I know about this.
No. No, you do know about one because I've told you. So remember I told you do the gear in, the check-in, and then you can go and find food, like lunch, before you jump into the buses that will take you to the desert.
You got Chinese
right?
food?
My Chinese food, exactly. So I was crossing the street. You're already like geared up with your clothes and everything because you're literally after that you're jumping in the bus and you already checked out from your hotel. So you are already with the clothes that you're going to be wearing for the next 6 days. So I was wearing my clothes and suddenly I was walking, crossing the street and I felt something weird between my legs. Not that kind between my legs, but like
hold
between
on a
my
minute.
thighs.
What do you mean?
So I looked down.
Pinchy Mongolia.
So I looked down and my shorts were absolutely ripped. I don't know when that happened. All the inside of my shorts, like the inseam in, here in my crotch.
Just all went at once.
Yeah. Like someone just
What
teared
brand
it
were they
apart.
shorts?
Lululemon.
Right, that's it.
Sorry.
I'm going to
fair
see them
enough.
tomorrow.
To be fair, I don't think the Lululemon shorts are made for 250 running. I like them. I mean, they're made for yoga, for relation.
But
I
you love
like
them for
them
running,
because they don't squeeze my body. They are like quite soft, so I feel comfy. To be honest, I don't think the materials are made for that. But they worked in Namibia. I crossed whole Namibia with those shorts, so I thought I'm gonna take them back because I feel really comfortable. The black ones, I love them. Done. So I crossed the street and they just exploded. So I'm like panicking. Oh my God, what am I going to do? And I remembered I packed another pair of tights that I was going to wear under my dress on the banquet day. So I go into the hotel again. I had to take my suitcase back. I have to recall it because they already put them in a store, like a storage place. Because they do keep your one bag, obviously the one you're not going to take to the desert. They store it in the hotel for you. So I had to dig in all the bags, found it, and I took the shorts, and those are the pink shorts that I ran with, which were not the ones I was supposed to run with. They are not my favorite. I don't think they're flattering on me. I hated them, but
I love those shorts. Know why?
because you can see me.
Because in every picture that I was looking, I could find you. There was you and a guy that had a pair of pink shorts on.
Yeah.
And I could pick you out in any picture because of those shorts.
I hate the color. I mean, I don't hate the color, but it wouldn't have been my go-to. Yeah, I don't think they were very flattering. But anyway, so that's one wardrobe malfunction. And the second one, I'll tell you when it happens. Because that happened.
We got it, have we?
That happened stage 3. So great. So stage 1, obviously you get there, as usual, you sleep the first night there. We already went through that in episode 1. Next day you wake up and it's go time. So the first stage was 35 kilometers. It looked fairly easy in the books, and the first half, as usual, as also in Namibia, was really fairly easy. It was very runnable. I was having the best time of my life until I until it wasn't.
I think they plan the courses out like that, don't they?
You're like, oh my God, if it's going to be like this,
Yeah.
that's it. I can
could
do
win
this.
thing.
I can win this thing. And then it's like, and then I look up and there is not a little mountain, a massive, no mountain. It was a hill, but it was just like literally a wall. Oh man, it was just, and I don't know why. I don't know. Probably you, if you're a runner, maybe you also experience it. I think the first couple of kilometers is always, it takes a little bit out of you
Find
to
your
kind of like,
pace.
yeah, and then you're feeling
settle in.
yourself a little bit hard, like you're not out of breath, you're kind of like not in rhythm until you start like taking your rhythm. I think that happens with these races. I think that day 1 and 2 is always like, it just happens in a larger scale. Instead of like first couple of kilometers, this one is like the first 1 and 2 days is like,
But
like
is it not? Is it not when you start, you've got a bit of excitement in your belly as well, and you're getting a bit of pace, and then you think to yourself, "Oh, hold on a minute, I need to settle down here." It's like in a football match. What you quite often find in football matches, the players for the first 15 minutes are running about crazy,
and
then what they do is they settle down into the game.
Well, I'll tell you what, because that was one question actually that someone asked me even during the race, because they were like, "Oh, I am saving my energy," and then when the moment that I'm supposed to run because I was saving the energy, I don't have it anymore. And it's sort of the same advice that I've told them with the ride the wave, kind of the feeling one that I've discussed with you in previous episodes. If you're feeling with energy, go for that in that moment. If you're not feeling with energy in that moment, then like ride each wave. Don't try to save your legs too much, because that sometimes doesn't work as well, because they were like, okay, I'm going to save my legs, and then later on when they were supposed to run, because they saved their legs all day for that, they're already knackered as well, because they've been running or walking trying to save their legs, which it doesn't work.
And plus, in most cases, you don't really know what's in front of you.
Exactly, you don't know. So if it's runnable and if you have energy, just go for it. I'm not saying sprint either, but just kind of go for it. Just go how you're feeling. You're feeling good with energy, run fast. If you are feeling a little bit, I'm struggling, just take it slow or just walk and, just go with it feeling.
I'm laughing. I'm saying, because you don't know what's in front of you. Whereas with me,
you do know.
I always know what's in front of me. It's either a documentary or the window.
That's it. There's no change of terrain. So that was brutal, that climb, I have to say. I was climbing and I can feel my heart just going into my ears right away. And it was really, really tough. So tough. I was doing like 5 steps up and just sitting down in a rock like for 5 minutes. Literally and I did that for the next 2 hours, pretty much. It was so big. And five steps up, just sit down for 10, and then just do another 5 up, and just sat another one. I just couldn't get my heart rate down. And then if you start feeling your heart going up and up and up, first of all, that's not great for your heart. And 2, you can start throwing up, obviously, because then everything starts spinning. You start feeling dizzy. There was one guy that was going up just throwing up the whole way. And he was right in front of me. We were doing the same thing, kind of like walking and, stopping, walking and stopping. But this guy was just throwing up so much. And I'm like, and it just became a joke between him and I, because he was just throwing up. But I was like, hey, you need to stop making so much noise, because...
Question.
Hold on. Because he's making the noise of like, sorry if you're listening to
we don't need the voices.
Don't make the noise. But he was making the noise and he was making me gag because I was listening to him gagging. And I was like, wait, you need to go away, because you're like, I was like, you need to stop throwing up, please. It was just so funny. So we're just like, that became now the joke every time I seen him. He's like, I'm not throwing up. It was just funny.
Question. So,
why you saying question now instead of raising your hand?
I did the first time. But see, when you are planning the race, obviously you know that there's that elevation there. Is it? Do you not mentally prepare yourself for that, or is there anything that you can do prior to that? Because even on the day of the race, right, they say to you, "Oh, you've got X amount of miles. You've got elevation here, then you've got elevation there." Is there nothing you can do, or is it just that sometimes you can be caught off guard no matter what?
I'll tell you, you get caught off guard because even though I knew the elevation that day was a hill, like for example, day two, there was a hill, but it was, I think it was even higher than the day two, but it was a nice, trimmed, groomed hill. Like it was a trail. Like it was just a sense of walking. This one was kind of rocky and kind of like the ground was unstable. There was no path. You just needed to kind of like, and that kind of makes it very, very different.
So just so that I get it, the terrain going, so the elevation can be the elevation, right? And obviously the distance can be the distance, but the terrain can have an impact on
Oh,
how
yeah.
successful you make that hill. So, for example, if it's a bit more rocky rather than grassy,
Yeah.
then
Yeah,
it's
makes it
definitely a bit harder,
Yeah,
is it?
I'll put in the YouTube channel the difference between. I think I have a picture of the two trails, how they looks, and obviously yes, even when you put your foot into, like my calves in this one were absolutely killing me because it was literally like this, and I was starting to get cramps as well. So it's just the position of your foot. So I took that one very slowly. Like I said, I was running the first half, so I actually took over a lot of people, and then that in that climb, literally everyone passed me. Like everyone passed me. So it was not fun. There was also a couple of river crossings in the first day right away. I think there was one or two. There was not many. No many, just one or two. Hold on until day 3 or 4 because it's like 7. So this one just only one or two, and I was kind of like wondering how my shoes were going to,
Cope with it.
yeah, and they were great. Again, really good plan there. My shoe was able to drain the water really fast, and I got my feet dry right away. It was again sunny-ish. That day was really hot, day 1 and 2. So my feet were able to dry really fast because my shoes drain really fast. And the other hand, if you don't have shoes that drain fast, it's going to take longer for the water to come out of your shoe. And then the more time your foot is wet, the more chances you have of getting a blister. So yeah. So that was very good. And we were passing the route was beautiful even from the day one because you were passing some yurts, some like local houses, and like we kids will be outside like saying hello and waving and high-fiving
Yeah,
you.
there's a cracking picture of you high fiving one
Yeah,
of them.
yeah. The kids were just all over the place.
In fact, were you not telling me that the kids, obviously because they're locals, you put your hand up to high five them and they're
They
like,
didn't know
I
what
don't,
was high five.
what, they're just
No.
looking at you like, what is this crazy woman doing?
Is she gonna punch me
Is
or
she gonna
what?
punch me? Yeah.
So I said, "Oh, I had to like mimic what to do with a wee hand." And he's like, "Oh, okay," and then give me a high five. I mean, for what the organizers were saying in one of the meetings is that the people from Mongolia or in general they don't have a lot of contact with Westerns, which makes total sense because they are like in the middle of nowhere already. So like, why would they have like? There's not a lot of connect yeah.
It's cool you get to experience that
Oh,
though
it
as
was
well and get to see
beautiful.
these things.
And
you
the
know?
kids were like, probably that's why they wanted to go out and see these people because
Yeah,
we
I'm
look
sure.
totally alien to them. And then there's
Yeah.
this crazy woman with like massive sunglasses, massive backpack. Everyone's kind of looking the same, different, but we all
Yeah.
look the same with the big backpacks and funky shoes and probably they are like, what are these people? And then yeah, maybe we looked a little bit like aliens to them. So yeah.
Could inspire them though, maybe because they see that and they like the idea
I don't know
of
if
it.
they're
yeah.
like. I will have to do some research if they are big into run. If it's a running,
yeah, over
like
there.
like in other cultures. Are Mexican culture is big on running since they were little. So it was really cute, and also there was a lot of cows, a lot of cattle, not cattle, cattle
Cattle.
around,
And
a lot
horses, you
of
were saying?
sheep. Horses, that was a different one, and it was beautiful because they were like literally running in front of you like wild horses, and it was like a scenery of Wild West kind of. You were imagining you were like in the Wild West, and there was like horses just passing by. A lot of, like I said, a lot of cows around, and they were on the trails. So I don't
And
know if
you're not a fan of cows.
but I am terrified of cows. So I had to remember my Scottish friends teaching me how to scare the cows. So I had to be very brave a couple of times. And so what you do, just in case you are scared as me, and you have an encounter with a cow, so you kind of like make a noise with your paws or with your hands, just clap, and then grow. So just open your arms really big and just scream something like out, out, or something without fear. Don't back down. Don't look down. Just feel very secure and very big. That's what they say. So, well,
The cows in Mongolia are probably talking to each other like, did you see this nutcase? We were just moved anyway.
yeah. They don't move though. They're just like looking at you, and it's so funny. But I did practice that, and that worked. That worked. I was a little bit like, because I was getting closer to the cow, and I'm like, the cow is not moving. I was like, no, look confident and big. And the cow was just not moving. He was still like eating and just looking me dead in the eyes, and I was like, please. And then the closer you get, and you're still doing that, and feel like show no fear, then they move.
I know it's a story for another time, but I remember that we talked years ago. Now, when you were out in the trails and you were telling you were terrified of cows, and I came from a place where our house used to back onto a farm. So when I was young, we used to run around and the cows were always there and we never bothered about it. And I used to think they were the most harmless things ever until you told me that was actually there was people that were killed by cows. And I was like, absolutely no way until I went and read it.
I'll
and
tell
I was
you what,
blown away
the
by
girl
it.
that finished third, Eva, by the way, big shout out to Eva, and congratulations. I think it was her first race, self-supported and everything. And she has her Instagram, and she was telling a story about a cow. She got attacked by a cow.
That's wild.
And I think it's not attacked. I think they just play, and then obviously they can cause a lot of damage because they don't know.
I think they get frightened. From what I was reading, they get frightened, and especially if they've got calves as well. They protect their calves.
Yeah.
But I was like, what do you mean? And
So I was like, I'm trying not to be afraid of the cows and all that. And then she put that up, the story of like saying, yeah, that happened to me. And I was like, oh my God, you see, it's out there.
It's incredible when you read about it.
No. So yeah, the first day was tough in the sense of that big climb. And then it went down, and it was like, again, just big, vast, grassy, just endless trails. It's unbelievable. So, like I said, the first day is just very kind of hard. You're trying to find your pace. Your backpack is very heavy. It's at the heaviest, obviously. Mine was 8 kilos, like I said, with water, probably 9. So it's still, still fairly loaded. And yeah, I shared a couple of kilometers with Lisa, my tent mate. I found her around there after the climb. I stopped a little bit, turned around, she was coming. I was like, hey, so it was good to have someone to, chat along. And then we obviously got to the camp. All good. Nothing wild again.
Did you party?
No. There's no parties.
I've got visions of everybody coming back and like, whoa, getting the campfire going and like fireworks.
And dancing around the campfire.
Yeah.
Aye. We did that in Namibia.
Painting their faces and all.
We did that in Namibia though. Yeah. We did dance around the campfire. Not this one, no.
Oh, that's one.
And day 2, we had a 44-kilometer route the second day. And what's the name? The race director, she's like, and you are going to feel those extra 4Ks, because the previous day was 40 and it was 44. And she was like, you guys gonna feel that extra 4. And she was right. I definitely felt those extra 4. I mean, you're running marathons consecutively. So yeah. And that one I think was the second hottest day for me. Because then the third day it got a little bit worse. But the second day was starting to cook. Like the first day was hot, like I said. But the second day I can definitely feel like we were getting into more of the desert, and then you start like feeling the volume up a little bit. But it rained a little bit as well. So that made it worse because it was so humid.
Oh yeah, that sounds horrible.
It's like, hot and humid, like hot, super hot and rain. Sometimes you're like, oh, it's going to be refreshing, but it wasn't. It just made everything much more muggier and much more like humid. Again, it was a lot of rolling hills in this one. This one started to remind me a little bit of Scotland, even like very Pinland hills in Edinburgh, like very, rolling hills, not easy hills because they were actually quite steep. But like I said, these ones were a little bit more, the terrain was even. It was just a dirt road, let's say, and it was just a steep, continuous climb. Endless though, but at least it was continuous and there was like a flat terrain. So yeah, it doesn't hurt that much though as when it's uneven terrain.
Right.
Definitely. So I was able to climb that one. I think I had there's a video around for that, which I'll post in my socials. That's the when I seen a checkpoint on top of a hill, and it was good. And then after that, I think after that checkpoint one or two, I found Manaika, which
Oh,
you
your
know
friend
her
Manaika.
from the season 2. We interview with her and the bonus episode. She is doing also the Grand Slam, and I seen her and we shared, I will say, like a good 15-20K together.
Cool.
The last couple of bit, until there was another climb. She was and we were chatting. It was funny because we were chatting in that, that walk that we were just there, and I was saying, she was like, I feel knackered, like I feel I'm struggling, and I said, me too. And I thought it was just me just being unfit. And she's like, no, I'm feeling really tired. And then that's when we started talking and thinking, do you think we're not 100% recovered from Namibia? And we were like, both like, I don't know. It could be a little bit of that. And it could be a little bit of, yes, we haven't done much in 5 weeks because we had 5 weeks between races. And like I said, I think 2 weeks were recovery. Another 2 weeks were kind of doing something, not too wild because you cannot get too tired or too stressed. And then pretty much then next week was just traveling. So it's been 5 weeks. You can lose a little bit of fitness. So we were both like, I don't know if I lost fitness or is that in reality we haven't, again, like I said, your internal organs, your heart is not 100% back to prime shape to do another effort like this. But she was struggling badly. So I left her somewhere around that. And then I took a little bit of a breather in a kiosk that I found after I touched the prayer charms. Oh, those were my favorite. I could just go and they sounded as well.
Yeah,
They
it
make
looked
some
cool,
sound. Yeah. And after one of those, there was like a wee kiosk, and I'm like, I'm gonna sit there because it was just getting really hot. And I just sat there for a little bit just to look around. I'll put the video in the YouTube. And I just looked around and it was beautiful. I could see all the colors. It was very colorful, very different from Namibia, for example, where you can stop and look around and it was just sand, endless sand until the horizon sand and nothing else. And then it was like brown and blue, the sky. That was pretty much the colors. And here was very green. And then you have the horses passing by. And there was also this smell because someone said the name of that plant. There was a plant that smelled like tea. I'll get you guys the name. But there was a plant, and obviously because you would pass over it, it will smell and make, you will squish it and will throw that smell in the air and smell like tea, like really fresh, like grass, fresh
cool,
grass.
yeah.
So that's one of the things.
But even that culturally, I picked it up on the photographs, and even the photographs I was posting on your socials at the time, when you were going into these like places, or you were in like the many temples, or the way the people were dressing and some of the flags that were going on, it was really, really colourful. It was always red and blues and yellows and things like that, which
you
were
can
really
see it in
nice,
the pictures right away. It was definitely a different, let's say, sensory wise, it was a different experience.
But I think that's the one of the points about racing the planet, because you'll
they're
get
also
that
different.
you'll get that everywhere you go. I mean, you've already, although you've got Jordan to do, you've already experienced that. I think it'll be good for you going back to doing Jordan to experience that stuff again, because you'll pick up a difference.
I'll tell you what, Jordan, I can tell you right away, Jordan is red. It's like a red planet.
Yeah.
It's like you're walking in Mars.
But even the smells and things like that, you're probably going to notice a wee bit more than you would have when we visited it, if
Yeah.
that makes sense, because you've got the
I'm excited
experience in
to
the
like
other
do it
ones.
like again because now
Yeah.
you would see it again and you
Yeah.
speak on different things the second time, I guess. So this one was really, really colorful, like I said, and I stand there in the kiosk and seen some horses passing, and it was just beautiful. And then in that moment, Manika passed me, and I was like, "Whoops, I better get up." So that was my cue to get up and start walking again. And I was like, "How long is to go? Like this is endless." And there was like just an endless. That was flat, very hot, and I was like, "You know what? I can't do this anymore." So I put my power song on, put my earphones, and I just started running. I ran the last 3K of that day in the heat. And we'll put also I have the video of that one. You can hear me finishing that day like absolutely out of breath because I was like, just get me out of here. I just want to finish this day. I'm just so done with it. It just like I said, those last 4K felt really long, especially because it was just flat, just a dirty track, and it was just like, just get me, and it was just getting hot, and you're like, please just help me.
See now that you've done Namibia and Mongolia, see when you do the comparison between the two, is there anything that you now think, okay, I need to change the way that I maybe think, or the way I maybe pack, or the way I do something in particular? Because they're all different. And if things are different, you need to adjust.
Different skills.
You need different skills, yeah, but you need to adjust.
I
Maybe it's your
do.
way of thinking, or maybe it's, I'm saying your footwear, but you get the
Yeah.
point. It could be anything.
I do have 3 things that I will share with you probably say at the end.
Okay.
I do have like a list.
Aye, because because just the more that we talk about it and the more we see you getting through them, that when you do the next race, well, there's got to be something different that you've learned from the others.
Yeah, definitely. So we arrived that day to the yurt. That's the day that we slept not in the tents, but in a wee yurt, which was a totally super cool experience to be sleeping in a traditional yurt.
That would be called glamping in Scotland.
Yeah, it's a glamping, but inside there was nothing. So you still sleep in your own mattress and your own sleeping bag and everything. So I get there and it's like it's already built up yurt, like probably they rent them or something, and it's a big, fairly big space. And obviously my yurt was at the end, right? So I had to walk almost like another half a mile up the road to get to my yurt. And then I had to go out back all the way to the front to get some water for dinner. And I was like, seriously, this is just like another workout. So yeah, it was funny. And my legs, and I think everyone's legs were absolutely toasted after day 2. Toast, like everyone was walking a little bit wobble, and it was not because of the feet or anything. It was just we were very sore. So my tent mates, they were, which is the Korean, my Korean tent mate. She had an app, a yoga app, of course. Why I never thought about that, right? She had a Korean yoga app. So she's like, she invited us if we wanted to do yoga, and I thought, yes, please.
Love that as
So
well.
we are
Love it.
inside the yurt. I'm trying to find if someone took a video of this. We're inside the yurt doing yoga. The instructions are in Korean, so we're just trying to
Just
like
copying them.
copying. Like she put the phone in the middle, and we're just trying to copy the lady in the video.
Brilliant.
It was so hard though, because she was trying to obviously try to do yoga poses when you're like so sore. It's not even funny. And it's like the picture is like, and then you're going to stretch like this. And I don't know, the lady's like purely stretching, touching her toes. And I'm like, we can't even barely touch our knees. And I was like, yeah.
You're just
it.
lying there in the baby position.
That's it. That's as far as I can go, lady. So yeah, it was funny. But it helped so much to do that because we were
That's interesting.
so sore. We were struggling. We all were struggling. So much that they were like, we're going to do yoga because we're like, we need to stretch.
See, I have another question for you. And maybe it's something we don't know, we maybe need to find out. So, is Mongolia quite high above sea level?
I don't think so.
Because I remember reading a while ago that because your muscles need oxygenated.
Yeah.
Yep. That if I know that the height that you're running at will have an effect on your lungs and your heart.
on your
But
muscles.
but
as
does
well.
that have an effect on your muscles?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah.
Because I was
Even
just
recovery as well.
even recovery, right? Because I was just thinking when you were saying, "Oh, we felt extra." Everybody felt extra sore. I wonder if it was something to do with whether they were
No, I think it was
oxygenated
just
enough.
very healing. You should see those heels.
Or
Like
was it?
it's relentless walking up a hill, walking up a hill. Like it's yeah, you get sore. I mean,
Right, okay.
who
Here's
wouldn't?
here's me thinking I was being quite scientific there, but no, it was just the
It's
legs
just
were
a lot
sore.
of heels.
The legs were sore. That was it.
That's it.
Nothing to do
You're
with anything
climbing.
else.
I think that day was a couple of thousand meters. Sorry, climbing. So it was like by day 2, you already climbed. You have already done 80 kilometers and a fair amount of climbing. So yeah, that was tough. So and that was the night that the tent, the ceiling of the tent flew
Blew off.
and the guys, the Korean guys are like, we'll help, we'll do it. And then they climb up, they fix the tent. Again, they were absolutely amazing because all the water was coming in the tent. But they were so nice and so helpful. And yeah, so going back to your question, because I had it here actually.
Oh, did you?
I was gonna say it. I was gonna
Two great minds.
share it at some point. I didn't know when, but since you asked. So yeah, since we've done already 2 deserts, we already, I think we're done great with the hydration. We've got it nailed. We had really good, the food, I think. I didn't struggle with that. The weight of the backpack, I think 8.8 was really good. Maybe I can shave off a couple of grams there, but I think that's going to be the lightest you can do.
Have a question. So,
To raise your
so see the you this time you lightened your backpack by getting a lighter weight bubble jacket.
Mm-hmm.
Was the
My
bubble jacket good?
Yeah,
Really good.
really good.
I think you should give that brand a good shout out then, because we love that brand.
It's Muji.
Muji, I know. Because actually,
Everyone's thinking, oh, it's going to be one of these crazy mountain brands.
But that's why I said
It's Muji.
it. That's why I said it, because actually it just shows you that although I mean you do need to invest in this sort of run, that you can find these things actually in places. And Muji is one of these places that it always surprises me. It's always
And
great
it's down
quality
feather
stuff
as well, so that's why it was really good.
Great quality stuff at great prices. And I remember you trying it on and you going, well, I think this would actually be quite good. And it's really, really light. And I remember you looking to see how light it was, remember? And I was actually going to ask you that, but that just shows you that you don't always need to go super expensive.
You start going to
You don't need
shops
to
and doing this to all, like trying to weight everything.
But you don't need to go super expensive for these things.
No,
It just shows you. Yeah.
It was, that's a new thing. Now you go to shops and you start weighting everything like, yeah, this is good. This is lighter than that. Yes, I'm taking
So there you go. Anyone needing a wee winter jacket, Muji?
Muji is really good. Yeah, Japanese. I think
Japanese
it is.
it is,
It's, I mean, you can't go
It's a
wrong with
great
that.
brand. Love it.
So I think I am going, and this is the objective we have with the team, Sarah, my coach, and Alvar, the nutritionist. Like I said, number 1 is I'm getting better. Well, the professionals.
All right, okay.
The
I was wondering why I
team.
wasn't included in the team though.
Professional. I mean, you're experienced runner,
Social media
but you're not a
I'm the social
profession-
media manager.
Yeah, you're the manager, professional manager. I'm saying in the running. Number 1 is, like I said, that one I mentioned you already. I'm doing better with my food in the recovery sense. So I am putting a little bit more of effort in that. I think you've noticed as well. So I'm like, I'm going to start like right. So I'm doing that. I know it's going to make a difference because I know food is always makes a difference. Number 2, I'm going to work on my heat exposure. Next one, like I said, is Jordan. And I'm living now in a place that we are very blessed that I'm going to be able to work on that. Before, like I said, we were living in Scotland. It was difficult. Not that it's an excuse, but I mean, it is what it is. It was hard.
Enough, yeah.
So right now we have obviously Dubai summer. So I am going to get some exposure, heat exposure, feel comfortable in the heat. So even if it's go out walking or swimming, which I've been doing. By the way, swimming here is hard because the water is so hot. It's like swimming in a freaking jacuzzi.
It is strange, isn't it?
Oh, so hot. My skin was boiling. Yeah. And so I was trying to swim out of breath. You're trying, like, outside is hot, inside is hot. It was just a whole nightmare. So it's good. So we're doing that more often. So heat exposure. Number two, which you can get heat exposure. Obviously, if you don't live in Dubai, you can get it
Yeah,
with sauna,
saunas. Yeah.
or if you don't have access to that, even a hot tub or hot showers, anything that is like hot exposures, that is
Turn the
something to
heating
work
up.
on.
Turn the
Turn the
heating
heat
up.
up. I know you're gonna get poor because of that. Wait for the bill. Number two, I want to get better, get fitter. So I spoke with Sarah about it. I want to get fitter, maybe a little bit faster in the running. So the fitter, the reality is, the fitter you are, the better you can manage heat and able to move faster and in a more economic way. So that's the whole point of getting fitter. So I may do a couple of threshold runs, which, to be honest, every run here is a threshold.
Yeah, even with me.
Because it's so
I know,
freaking hot.
even with me inside in the treadmill.
So no, but like you're running at that pace, right? It's threshold, but I need to run in that pace outside and fast. So that will be faster for me. Right?
Yeah.
So yeah, getting to find that threshold pace, because right now my runs are aerobic, and like I show you,
Yeah.
it's like very aerobic pace. So I need to just go a tiny bit faster so I can feel that effort in my lungs. So
And
I may squeeze in a couple of.
you always talk
threshold
about the
runs.
walking,
Yeah,
about the.
and then number three.
All right, have you got it? Okay.
You're spoiling
I, know-
my
I never.
points.
I can't read it. I was just.
We need to start talking about this before. Number three is get my leg turnover. It's called
Leg
or
turnover.
get better at my leg turnover, or okay, walking in the less scientific.
Aye, you're getting a bit technical. What I would just call it hiking.
Fast hiking. Yes, so that is my third goal, and super, super important that I'm going to. I realized since Jordan that I'm a really slow walker. So I can run really fast, but then when I start walking, because you have to walk, everyone walks, it's fine. When I start walking, everyone passes me. So I need to get better at my walking. I think if I continue or maintain my fit level and then get better at the walking, I could do so much better.
I have a question. See, obviously, I know that when you use poles, what they do is they're good for steadying you. But can you use the poles to help you to make you walk quicker?
Not make you go, but it's gonna make it more economic, so you can go faster or walk faster
Because
with
it makes you
less
steadier.
effort. Less effort
Right,
doesn't
okay.
make you steady. Well, maybe if the ground is unstable, but it's going to give you a wee push, so it's going to help you. So it's gonna
Okay.
make it more economical. So you're gonna walk faster with less effort.
Right,
Right?
okay.
So yeah, I'm going to start working on my leg turnover or walk faster. That's definitely, and then that's very important because just don't forget that we're doing all this with the objective of Cocodona, which I think it's going to be a walking parade. Cocodona as well. So I need to get better and faster at the walking if I want to make it to Cocodona on time. So yeah, we're using these ones to walk, and I feel like I haven't had a fair chance because Namibia was too brutal. So I think this one is my good chance of showing myself that I can push even if it's hot and sandy, and I'm gonna put all my efforts to get better at that. So watch this space.
It's funny. It sounds like such a simple thing, isn't it? Because obviously you walk every day. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but that's a leisure
but,
pace.
There's obviously there's like the walking, and then there's like the technical walking, if you know what I mean.
For example, my tent mate, Elisa, she is such a fast walker. I had to go trotting next to her. Like I needed to like do a wee trot, and she was just walking. So she can hit paces of 10 kilometers an hour. No, yeah, with just walking. And I'm in 12, which I did my timing today. And that's slow. So I do want to get into the range of 10. So that's fast
10 kilometers an hour
walking.
walking.
Yeah.
So it takes her, because I do 10 kilometers run in an hour.
Yeah.
So she's walking as fast as I can run.
Yeah. So is the leg turnover, so is moving the legs faster, and the stride length as well. She walks really big steps and really fast. And the other thing that I notice is that even some of the top tens ladies, for example, that they passed me a couple of times, there was 2 or 3 that I noticed they were only walking.
But they were just walking super
They
fast.
were walking super fast. So if I run, I'll make up time in the running, and then in the walking, they will pass me. And they've been walking all the time, same pace. And I, because I go slower in the walking, they will pass me. So I will lose all that time I made in my running because they will be faster than they walk. And they just keep a steady pace the whole time. So that's a very good, So, and there's really fast walkers, like really fast. You have no idea how fast they can
I
walk.
suppose it stands to reason if you're doing it over longer distances. It's, as they say, it's the person that's steady
Yeah,
wins the race, isn't it?
always.
And whether that's running or walking fast, I guess it's
Exactly.
interesting.
So excellent. So that was our recap for stage 1 and 2. It was super beautiful. I think we're going to start getting a glimpse of what's going to. I started getting a glimpse how what was going to be Gobi. I was a little bit scared because day 2 was getting hot, and I thought, I don't think Manika and me were like, I don't think I can stand another Namibia. I think I don't have the brain, the body, the mindset. I can't deal with another Namibia, but it's going to get better. I promise.
Do you know, interestingly enough,
get that.
I remember on the messages I was sending you and what I was putting out, on day 1 and day 2 on paper, it looked pretty decent because you were always middle of the pack. You were always middle of the pack and you were always quite
I
settled
was like in
in
15, so yeah,
Yeah.
very middle of the pack.
Well, there's 120 runners, do you know what I
No,
mean?
15 of women.
Oh,
I think I was
15
70
women, that's right.
something.
There was 32 women. And there was like 120 odd in total.
Yeah.
And you were constantly middle of the pack. And I thought to myself, because we always talk about it, that when you do these long distance races over 5 or 6 days, first couple of days really should be about settling into it. And we spoke about that earlier on. And I actually remember putting up, that's the plan, you're settling into it, you're getting used to it on those couple of days.
Yeah.
So it's quite interesting to hear how knackered you were on them, do you know what I mean?
No, it was really hot. I was struggling. Yeah, like first 2 days. I think even into day 3, which we'll talk about next episode. Even day 3, I think day 3 was my hardest day, and I'll share you why. That's one day I thought this is just gonna be another little Namibia, and it's gonna be so. I was struggling. Day 1 and day 2 still fun-ish until this point. And yeah, thank you everyone for the messages that you sent me while I was racing. I received them all, and I'm going to start replying to them all. If I haven't, please let me know. But I think I replied them all. Thank you so much. And yeah, this is stage 1 and 2. Next week, stage 3 and 4. It's going to be fun.
Question. Did we find the guy with the fake Nikes that ran in them?
He said that I don't think they were fake Nikes. Maybe he corrected. Oh, he never said if they were fake or not. But what he did added to his story was that the shoes were one size smaller.
Oh,
I didn't know that. And I'm like, what? So, yeah.
If you listen to the last episode, one of the runners forgot his running shoes.
Yeah.
So
he was running with a shoe that is smaller.
And find a pair.
I know. It was wild. The things that happen in these races is just, I don't know if it's fun. But you know what? I think we all learn how to laugh about these things. And when life treats you or throws you a curveball, you just know to do one thing. Just
When
laugh.
life throws you lemons, you make lemonade.
We just laugh. I think that's the beauty about my sport. Like, we laugh at everything because we've gone through so many things, or just laugh at everything. So when you're like back to normal life and a struggle comes along, just laugh, because that's how you're like.
That's all you can do.
I've done worse things. Just I'll survive it. So, well, thank you so much for listening today. I'll have a wonderful, wonderful weekend, and I'll see you next week. Remember to keep doing whatever makes you ultra happy.